Let me go to Nicole. You're on Rover's Morning Glory. Nicole, how are you?
Hey, Rover. Love the show. I listen to you guys every day.
Thank you.
Susie, I'm sorry that you get such a rough rap sometimes. I see your point, right? But, yeah, Rover, totally love the show. Listen every day. Talk about it. Rover Fest, everything. Totally love the show.
Well, thank you.
Huge advocate. I was calling about this, hunting conversation you guys are having. Normally, I don't call in much, but I'm a big hunter myself. And as a female, I get a lot of criticism as it is, just because I'm a female hunter. I've hunted overseas. I was in Africa last year, and I shot 7 animals and brought them back. And I haven't read all the details of what's happened in this Zimbabwe case. It sounds... It sounds terrible, the way that I've heard it so far. But what I can tell you is that it really depends on the outfitter that you're with overseas. The animals that I took, the tribesmen that were there, the PHs, which are your professional hunters, they're the guidesmen that take you out. And the people who work there at the outfitting place, who are natives of the area, actually take the meat from the animals, and they eat the meat. And we ate it there as well. That was
Okay,
the only
but Nicole, this is all smoke and mirrors. You're not killing these animals for their meat. And believe me, the guys over there in Zimbabwe don't need Nicole to fly over there and kill a giraffe for them to eat.
I completely understand. And to be fair, I appreciate your point, and I know exactly what you're saying. But in this case where they're leaving the meat or they're leaving the lion, I personally would not shoot a lion. I would not shoot a rhino. I would not shoot an elephant. And I'm not saying that one animal, deserves more respect than another, because I respect them all. But you're correct. I did go overseas. It was paid for, and it was filmed. But how each hunter treats the animal is part of the sport and part of what goes into it. It's the same thing here. So I shot a buffalo last year, and I took the shoulder mount, I took the head, the hide, the legs, the feet, and shipped all of the meat back home and left a third of the meat, for the, it was on an Indian reservation, and left a third of the meat for the tribesmen there. I even brought back the bone. So I have the shoulder of the buffalo that I shot. So it really is, I realize that just like in anything, there's people that take it to an extreme, and there's people that don't respect the rules, and there's people that break the rules in all sports, whether it's football or hunting. And there's some that have more respect for the animal.
Well, why do it? There's Nicole, there's something in the psychology of these big game hunters, including yourself, that you enjoy killing things.
I hear what you're saying, and my situation is a little bit different. I understand, that there are some guys. I know some guys that go over there, and they do shoot these big game animals, and they talk about how they killed this animal, and they bring back this mount. I get it, and I can't say that I haven't brought back those animals as well, and you can call them trophies. But for me, it's how you look at it. I'm a deer hunter here in Ohio. I've gone bear hunting before, and I just look at the sport very differently. 90% of the meat that I consume is from everything that I've taken. Going to the grocery store is not something that I do. I don't need to.
Isn't it better that she's eating the meat, Rover? Big difference than just killing it, mounting the head, and that's the end of it.
Sure, I guess that gives you but she's not doing it because she wants to eat that meat. She's doing it because she wants to kill those animals. And eating the meat makes it more palatable to people that, hey, I ate everything that animal that I flew to Africa to shoot.
That's one point where I will disagree with you, Rover, is I hunt every year to fill a freezer. I have a separate freezer in my house just for that. And it's healthier to eat venison than it is beef. And if you're hunting these animals, they're not receiving the hormones that they do in the store. The chicken that farmers grow at their house, they're not injecting it with all these hormones and injecting it with water. So when you go to the grocery store and you buy a chicken breast, it looks massive, but when you cook it down, there's nothing to it because it's been injected with water. When you look at a cow, and if you buy a cow that's been grass-fed and it doesn't have any hormones injected into it, that cow could probably be about 450 pounds. But now if you buy one that's been injected with hormones, that cow is now going to be about 700 to 800 pounds because it's that much bigger from all those hormones.
Right.
And people are eating. So from my perspective, I absolutely do it for the meat that I can eat. Venison is healthier, and I enjoy game meat. And, there's people that will say, oh, my gosh, people should just go to the store and buy their meat, and they shouldn't be killing these animals. And I just look at them and say, I'm sorry, did you think that cow that is sitting on your grill committed suicide? Do you think it shot itself, or do you think it just fell over and died?
No, I don't think that, but I think that these big game hunters, and I don't know, maybe you're an exception to the rule, but you, I would imagine, and all the rest of these people, you enjoy killing these animals. That's the thrill of it, the thrill of the kill, right?
I think it's difficult for me to say this because I am an advocate for hunters and the sport of hunting, and I put a lot of things on the line to defend that. I will say, just like there is with football, just like there is with any sport, there are people that treat the sport the wrong way, and they do go out just for that. They do go out for the egotistical boost that says, hey, I just shot this big horned animal, and, other people can't do it, or they're not doing it, and look at me. And they take the photo, they pose over the animal, they're smiling with it. Every animal I ever shoot, this is going to sound messed up, and you can tell me that, and I'm used to hearing it, is an emotional event for me.
You cry?
I bawl my eyes out. Oh, absolutely. I bawl my eyes out like a little kid. And I get made fun of because a lot of the camps that I'm at, it's a male-dominant sport. And so when I show up as a female, they question my shooting ability. They question if I can really do this. Well, you're going to put makeup on before you go out and hunt. None of that to me matters. You just brush it off. But when I go out there and I shoot an animal and then I start crying and I'm upset, to me it doesn't matter who else is around or what they think of it. But it's troubling for me in that regard because I have just taken the life of an animal. Now, regardless, there are going to be animals that are killed. There's going to be animals that are put on the table to be fed to families and people. But I'm the one who just did it. And I have to, say, wow, this is something that I chose. The way I look at it is, a deer wakes up in the morning the same way that you and I do. It wakes up and it says, you know what, today I'm going to get up, I'm going to stretch, I'm going to go for a walk, I'm going to get something to eat, I'm going to go get laid, or whatever the thought process is the same as human. The difference is that when there's a deer walking through the woods and I'm sitting in a tree stand, I'm the one who takes the opportunity to shoot that deer, and it doesn't even know that I'm sitting there. So I'm making the conscious choice to take that animal's life. And in a way, I guess you could say maybe it's weird, it's the same way that the universe treats us as people, where all of a sudden you're just walking along one day, going to get some food, doing your thing, and the universe smacks you with some sort of tragedy that you didn't even see coming.
Yeah, but I think that a lot of these hunters, this is the reason why they do it. It makes them feel superior, that they have some control over the universe. And frankly, we're all pretty insignificant. Any one of us could be hit by a meteorite today. No one's going to care about it tomorrow. But
I think she agrees with you on that point.
All right. Well,
and I do agree.
Charlie thinks that he found her on Facebook and thinks he knows who Nicole is and has. Yes, Charlie.
She's the hot hunter girl, right?
Are you the hot hunter girl?
I don't know.
She knows it.
What's your last name start with? What
my last name is it's Nicole McClain.
All right, yes,
no,
that is who Charlie.
A lot of pictures of you smiling over dead animals, not crying.
She's pretty hot.
She's very hot.
Yeah, she's hot. She's good looking.
You'd really have to send me the photos of me smiling over dead animals, because that's one of the pain points I get from the photographers. They say, why aren't you smiling in these photos? And I said, I don't have a reason to smile right now.
Now, wait a second. Hang on. I just saw a photo on RMG TV.
She's laughing.
There's one smiling over, what is that, like a warthog? Is that what that is?
Yeah. She can't wait to eat it later.
Yeah. So that one, no, the warthog, we were in Africa, and that was the camera guy. And the camera guy had never shot an animal in Africa. And I had an opportunity to shoot the warthog, and I said, you know what, you take this one. You've never shot an animal in Africa. Go ahead. And he was nervous, but he did it, and he shot it, and I was very happy for him.
Here you are smiling over something with like
an antelope,
4-foot-long antlers or whatever.
Is that an antelope?
Smiling there. There's a lot of smiling over there.
You don't have to lie about smiling.
No,
I think you're being honest about everything else, but you're definitely smiling.
There's also a photo. Wait a second. There's also a photo of her wrapping herself in what looks to be some sort of deer hide with blood on her face or something.
Yeah. And because in Africa, when you shoot an animal, the first animal you ever shoot, it's customary for the tribe there to take the blood of the animal, the PH does, and marks your face with the blood. I didn't even know that they were going to do that until I had shot the animal. We went up and we found the animal, and the PH stuck his hand in the blood, and I'm like, okay, what is he doing? And he comes over and he draws on my face, and I said, what on earth are you doing? He's like, this is customary. This is what we do. This is the first animal you've shot in Africa. This is how it goes over here. And so that's what that was. The same thing, it's just when you're in a certain place, you follow the customs that they have set in place. When you're hunting on an Indian reservation, you follow the customs that they have set in place. There's, they have tobacco rituals that they do when I shot the buffalo. There's a ceremony that they have afterwards. And again, not all hunters participate in those. Not all hunters see that as the mission that they're on when they're going hunting. And some of these hunters don't even eat the meat from the animals that they're shooting. I have to say that.
Let me hang on a second, Nicole. Let me go. Chuck has a question. Go ahead, Chuck, quickly. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you a question, if I could.
Go.
If hunting is a sport, how come the animals don't know that they're playing?
That's a good point.
I guess that's probably a good question of why it's actually called a sport. For me, it's a certain skill set. It takes training. It takes time, patience, equipment. I'm teaching my niece and nephew to shoot a bow, and I've told them, I said, if you guys want to become hunters, that's completely fine with me. If you don't, and you never want to shoot a deer, you never want to shoot an animal, that is totally fine with me. I will never push them to do it. But archery in itself is good discipline for kids to learn, and it is a valuable skill, and it teaches them patience. It's good for children that have that appreciate and do well at solo sports where maybe they're not good at soccer, where they have to be aggressive, but better for kids who are maybe into golf or bowling, where it's a solitary sport for them to focus on a target and shoot a bow. I'm not an advocate that everyone needs to be a hunter, but I say that if you're interested in it, try it. And if you take it to hunting, that you respect the animal and use as much of the meat and the hide that you can.
Charlie, would you have sex with Nicole if she were covered in deer blood? Would
yes.
you? I mean, you
She'd
would.
be covered in deer something else, some other liquid.
And you'd be okay with it. She's that good enough looking, or you would still do that.
Did you say yes? Did you say yes?
Yes, he did. Yes.
I've been scouring his Facebook pictures.
Are you single?
Oh yes, she's.
I'm not single.
Charlie tells me that she's dating someone that we know.
I don't know if she is now, but I thought she was linked to a guy that we know.
She's hot.
I know I looked at these pictures before, and I know I looked at these pictures before. I was like,
how'd you find these pictures? How do you even know who this chick is? Are you watching the Outdoor Channel or whatever, Charlie? Oh, you had it bookmarked.
I am on a show on the Outdoor Channel. Maybe Charlie.
No,
you are?
Oh wow, no, I don't watch the Outdoor Channel. No, because a guy we had in mentioned her, and I was like, wonder who this chick is, and I saw her.
I know.
And then I went, and then when she called in, I went, I think I remember this hot hunter girl named Nicole.
I know her.
I think he just secretly watches the Outdoor Channel.
Or maybe it's that.
No, Charlie's not manly enough to watch the Outdoor Channel.
No, I wouldn't.
He probably doesn't even get it on his cable system.
But he has to do manly things.
Well, not much. Not really.
No.
All right, Nicole, I appreciate the call. Thank you, hon.
Sure, thanks for taking the call. Love the show, guys.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye. The fact of the matter is, people who, there's a lot of, like I said, smoke and mirrors, hocus pocus. People enjoy the thrill of the kill. That's what it is. They enjoy killing something else. Period. That's why you hunt. Unless you're like a caveman who needed food.
Well, they all had to do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you didn't have the supermarket, you'd have to do it.
I would.
To survive, yeah.
Yeah.
So we're lucky.
Or I could just go out and harvest a bunch of vegetables and eat those instead. But people who do, the big game hunters, they enjoy killing things. It's the thrill of the kill. I have to take a break.